The first Women's Rights Convention was held in Seneca Falls, New York in 1848, where 1/3 of the 300 attendees, 68 women and 32 men, signed the Declaration of Sentiments, which became known as the Grand Movement for Attaining the Civil, Social, Political, and Religious Rights of Women. While some applauded the courage and abilities to draft such a document, an article in the Oneida Whig newspaper described the document as, quote, the most shocking and unnatural event ever recorded in the history of womanity, end quote. Thus, the movement for women's rights began. Not only was the stage being set in the United States, but internationally throughout many countries, women's rights were a political hot topic as well. In August 1910, an International Women's Conference was organized in Copenhagen. The conference delegates, 100 women from 17 countries, agreed with the idea as a strategy to promote equal rights, including suffrage for women. The day was established to honor the movement for women's rights, including the right to vote known as suffrage. In the United States, suffragist Alice Paul for the National American Woman Suffrage Association organized a march down Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C. on March 3, 1913. The purpose of the march, as stated in the official program, was to, quote, march in a spirit of protest against the present political organization of society from which women are excluded, end quote. More than 8,000 suffragists marched in the parade along with 5 mounted brigades, 26 floats, and 10 bands. This year, March 3, 2013, marked the 100th anniversary of the Women's Suffrage Parade of 1913. The parade helped change the course of the fight for women's equality. In the years to come, women continued to fight to ensure they were granted the same status as men. In 1920, the 19th Amendment gives women the right to vote. The Fair Labor Standards Act establishes minimum wage without regard to gender in 1938. In 1963, the Equal Pay Act is established. Title VII of the Civil Rights Act prohibits employment discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, national origin, or sex in 1964. The National Organization for Women was founded in 1966. In 1987, after being petitioned by the National Women's History Project, Congress passed Public Law 100-9, which designated the month of March as Women's History Month, designed to highlight the contributions of women to events in history and contemporary society. A special presidential proclamation is issued every year which honors the extraordinary achievements of American women. We've come a long way, baby. Today, women continue to make inroads in the quest to achieve equal footing with their male counterparts. In our governing bodies, women hold slightly more than 18% of the 535 seats in the 113th U.S. Congress. At the local level, there are 5 governors, 11 lieutenant governors, and 8 attorney generals who are women. And women hold 24% of the state legislature seats. Women are a growing force in our economy. According to the National Association of Women Business Owners 2012 annual report, women own 30% of companies, which generate $1.2 trillion a year in sales. And women account for $12 trillion of the overall $18.4 trillion in global consumer spending. And the most promising strides in our search for equality come in the progress women are making in educating themselves. The Bureau of Labor Statistics says young women are more likely to graduate from college than are men, and they are more likely to hold a graduate school degree. In 2011, armed with an education, women accounted for 58% of the labor force and 51% of all persons employed in management, professional, and related occupations. We have a rich and diverse history of women pioneers who were brave enough to stand up for equality. Let each of us reflect on the accomplishments of these women, many who are unsung sheroes and whose names you will not see in the history books. Yes, we have come a long way, but the revolution continues even today. Let us embrace who we are, remember the sacrifices made for the betterment of women, and be empowered to move forward.